and she'll be going there next year. And I think that we need to look forward, move forward, and this name change is utmost important to make that happen for the numerous reasons we've already talked about. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth Rumack.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having me back again. I had the privilege of being a member of the committee that got to work on the proposed name change. I am for the name change for many reasons, but we have discussed that in our numerous meetings, and I don't think. Oh, sorry.
Please.
Sorry, Beth Bruna. I'm a parent, of a first grader in the FLA program. I have a son at Little Big Minds and a 1-year-old who's still at home, and obviously we're going to be in the school district for a long time. What I want to say tonight is, I don't want to get into the politicalness of the name, but I just think what we have in our community and the opportunities that are presented here is you have a school, you have a community of dedicated parents who want to be involved and collaborate with the school board, not only to better SVTA and to bring higher level education to that school, but the whole school district. We have a unique opportunity here in a public school to provide education not only for children who come from higher socioeconomic standards, but also for children who may come from the other end of the spectrum, and give that equal opportunity and the education our kids deserve. And I think the many changes that are occurring are wonderful. These are all the little steps that head us in the right direction. And these are little steps. This name change is a little step in changing the perception in our community to pull in more families who are in this community who need to be sending their kids to this school. I believe in the name change, I believe in the school, and I believe that our district and this board in front of me and the parents behind me can pull together to bring the education I want my kids to receive, but every kid in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Evans.
Superintendent and Madam Chairwoman and board members, thank you for your time. My name is Tom Evans. I'm the father of a 5-year-old student at SPTA. As we've discussed a little bit so far, I was a part of the naming committee, and what we seem to be coming up against when we hear from folks who are not in favor of this name change is two main points. The first being is two key questions that need to be answered. The first being, is the name appropriate? Is the name offensive to people? The second is the new name suitable? The comments that I've seen from all those folks about the first point, about whether the name is offensive or whether it's appropriate, it usually goes along the lines of there's nothing wrong with the name, there's nothing wrong with it, it's been like this forever. You folks were forwarded a letter today, and I hope that provided you some perspective, and I'd like to share a little bit of that with the audience. It was from Patricia Hibler, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Phoenix Indian Center, which is one of the largest Native American service organizations in the Western United States. I'll read you some of this letter, and I've also got hard copies for audience members who may want to see it. She writes, "It is with the utmost respect that I encourage the governing board to change the name of the school to a more appropriate name, eliminating the word squaw, a culturally inappropriate word to many tribes. As a leader in the American Indian community in Greater Phoenix and nationally, I feel it is important to inform you of the derogatory meaning of the word squaw used in this school's name." She then goes on to give examples of the use of the word in cultural history when it comes to Native American cultures. She gives examples of jurisdictions that have changed the name of entities named Squaw so that they won't have this cultural insensitivity going forward. And she even cites several major dictionaries, Merriam-Webster, American Heritage, who termed the term as offensive when marking it in their definitions. She writes, "As a school district with a goal of effectively serving and recognizing people of all cultural and religious backgrounds, it is important that you not only show the American Indian parents and children you care, but all community members. We stand together as brothers and sisters in this word, and your support on this issue is paramount." I hope it's agreed that this is simply a fact. It may not be an offensive word to me, it may not be an offensive word to you personally, it may not be an offensive word to those who are objectionable to this name change, but it is offensive to a significant portion of the population. I don't think that point can be argued any further. So we move on to the second question, which is the new name suitable? And as was mentioned before, it would be impossible for us, if we handed out 50 name cards and had people write down their own suggestion, it would be impossible for us to come to consensus. That's what this process that we went through is for. That's not what Facebook is for, that's what this process is for. And we could have had a process that involved Facebook, but instead, we sent out tens of thousands of communications directly to parents in this district, asking for the direct input, and the response that was received was overwhelmingly in favor of the name change. I find it interesting that Squaw Peak Traditional Academy is currently named after something that no longer exists. Piestewa Peak is now the name of that mountain. How long are we going to continue to have a school that's named after something that no longer exists? Anyway, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last public comment on this issue, Adam Flick.
Good evening, members of the board. Adam Fleck. I live at 5119 North 32nd Place. I'll make this short and sweet as I'm the last one. I'm sure you're happy about that. I am in favor of the school name change. I did speak at the last meeting, and I'm very excited to hear about the legal review. I urge the board to make the right decision and vote in favor of the school name change. There you go. And I also urge the board to maybe either internally look and have your legal team review all of your other policies, or maybe have some sort of outside consultant or someone come in to review those policies as well. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of man hours trying to come up with ways to make this school and this district the best it can possibly be, and I would hate for that to be a precedent, as mentioned before, and to continue down those lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the discussions.
Madam Chair, colleagues, sorry I wasn't here last board meeting, but it's interesting the different thoughts that have crossed my mind in the last number of months on this specific issue. One thing I hear today very loud and clear from both camps is they believe in the school, which is great. I first was introduced to this district through the process at Squaw Peak when there was a committee to kind of investigate why the parents aren't sending their kids here. I was on that committee with David Zook, and overwhelmingly people did not believe in the school for one reason or another, or the district. So that's a very positive thing. I ran for the school board because I wanted people to believe in our school, and I wanted to spend time in this position making decisions that impact student achievement, and of course focusing on quality instruction, supporting our teachers, and making sure our kids are prepared. So this is something that came up a long time ago. This name is offensive. I think our board has always kind of acknowledged it, and we were waiting for a parent group to take the lead on this. This isn't, I mean, we've had other things that we've been focusing on. So I was really excited when there was an interest, a sincere push to make this happen. And nevertheless, I think that, I'm glad that the board will take into consideration not just the presentation, but examine it and analyze it and see if this is something that we want to do, because all committees exist to really just make recommendations. We make our own decisions based on that evidence, but it's never just a given that we follow it and we do this. What's happened in the last couple of weeks, though, is and I don't know if this is exaggerated or not, but it's become controversial, it's become divisive. So my real question for you to think about today is, would changing the name today to the Biltmore Preparatory Academy cause a greater rift and slow down the momentum that we have? Would it interfere with the instruction? I don't know. I mean, thinking about that myself, it's all these people came to the school not because the name was going to be the Biltmore Preparatory Academy, but because of the programs and because of the reputation we've built and because of the things we were doing for kids. And when looking at the numbers that were presented at the last meeting, I found it interesting that the parents that they collected input forms from overwhelmingly supported this, but it wasn't necessarily the same for teachers. And I would definitely hate to cause a rift there. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that this would benefit student achievement, be neutral, or impact it in a negative way? That would help me make my decision based on your thoughts and, I guess, conversations you've had in the last couple of weeks with the community.
I'm going to say this first. It's been a really rough 3 weeks. I've had the controversy to me was worse than when I was board president. We had a lot of tough decisions to make. I didn't know what was going to happen after the vote was a tie. I still appreciate the parents of the school's attendance area for what they've done for the district.